Hey, what is going on, everyone? Happy Friday and happy week 2 of the National Football League. What's going on? Andrew Paterson, along with my pals from Coolbet, Jake Bolin Moss and Pat Gregoire. And it is time for WST Winners Week 2, NFL, picks against the spread, props, touchdown score. And as always, we'll cook up a couple parlays, get them boosted, and stick them up in the combo cards over at Coolbet. Shout out to our guy, Connor Rabchak, for making things happen behind the scenes. And a big thanks to our presenting sponsor, Coolbet. Folks, if you have not played a Coolbet yet, what the heck are you waiting for? Use the promo code WST on your first deposit for a 100% bonus up to $200. And you can ride with us on some of these parlays, make your own picks. And I should mention, join us for Wednesday Night Poker with Winnipeg Sports Talk starting on September 24th. We've got a schedule. Our next event, kind of the first one of the fall sked, if you will, Wednesday, September 24th. And definitely check out Coolbet Poker. In the meantime, we'll have more details on that on all our social channels and on Winnipeg Sports Talk. But let's get down to business and welcome the boys in. We've dusted ourselves off from week 1, which is always a little bit of a graveyard. Pat, Jake, you guys are 1-3. I was 2-2. I mean, listen, we can live with that in week 1, but no excuses this week. We've seen these teams. We have a better idea of what we're dealing with. Still might be a little bit before I think we've really locked it down, but it's go time. Patty, what's up?
Yeah, I don't know why we didn't talk about my prop record and the TD scores first. Why we had to bring up how bad.
Did you hit both the props? Or I think you missed both neighbors by a couple of yards.
I think I just missed out on the neighbors prop.
Bijan, which is nice, right off the bat.
Bijan, no sweater. What's frustrating, and this is why, folks, it's important to get your bets in earlier if you really like something. My bet itself cashed because I bet the neighbors prop earlier in the week. Then as it progressed and kept going and going, the line did move. So my bet won, but for the folks giving out the pick, it lost. So again, maybe it's not going to help you here, but I will just say this is why, it's great that Coolbet early on in the week, we do post our props earlier than what you've seen in the past. So if there is a line that you like and there is a prop that you like, whatever it may be, if you do like it, trust your gut, bet it, because there's a good chance later on the week that great deal that you had is gone.
JBM, what's up?
Well, I want to let the record stand. I was actually 1-2-1 last week. Broncos was a push at -8. I just want that on the record. I want that to
good call. Listen, the court stands corrected. How can we forget about that? It was the hook, but you did have it in at 8, and that is a push. So again, 1-2-1. One game below 500. No big
Still
deal.
Terrible. Still awful. And then how about this? I had Etienne over receiving yards. The guy had 143 yards on the ground, and he had 13 receiving yards, which was a half yard short of that number. So I missed both my props. And then Trey McBride, they set up a couple plays in the red zone for McBride, and he couldn't find the end zone. So yeah, that's on me, fellas. And I'll be honest, this week I'm not making it any easier on us with my touchdown score, which we'll get to a little later on.
For my props, I had Jonathan Taylor over 99.5 combined yards. He had 71 rushing yards. He had 27 receiving yards. He was at 98. And because the Miami Dolphins are so ass, they were able to just tell him, put the helmet down for the last 20, 25 minutes of the game. We're good, JT. We'll see you in week 2. So that was brutal. Although Brian Thomas, we'll get into Jacksonville, I'm sure, at some point. They got their win, but a very strange offensive setup in the first game under their new head coach, and that was not good if you're a Brian Thomas fantasy owner or a Brian Thomas prop better. We're going to get to our favorite 4 picks against the spread to start it off. Then we'll get to a couple props each and a touchdown score and put some things together. But just before we dive into it, Pat, I have to tell you, this Green Bay Packers outfit and this Green Bay Packers defense that I thought might be more vulnerable to the run with the loss of Kenny Clark, this is a problem for the rest of the NFC. Washington's a good team, and they got absolutely stuffed in a locker last night by Green Bay.
So unbelievably exposed, and you're right. Washington is probably going to be a solid team. They'll be a good team. But what we saw with the Green Bay Packers, with the addition of Micah Parsons, that is an absolute problem. They are again. It's kind of like what we followed with the script. Like, they keep everything in front of them, and no big plays. They just Washington had absolutely nothing. But when you add Micah Parsons, they just more dangerous. And now Packers offense, they look dead at points. But for me, it's when you look at, they don't have to. That defense is going to keep you in the game. This is an problem of a.
All right, we got Patty's internet cutting in and out. Not a great start for the show today, but we will. Jake and I, listen, we've been through this before. There's been ins, there's been outs. Jake, just a quick thought on the show that the Packers put on. I mean, I'm sort of focusing on the defense because it's just how impressive it was. But tell you what, all last night, I was lamenting all of those Jordan Love MVP bets that I threw out last year on the program. I was a year too early. If this continues and the Green Bay Packers are right there, I mean, I have them to win the NFC, really kicking myself for not getting a little bit of Jordan Love stock because, man, he looks good and the rest of that team looks absolutely complete.
Yeah, LaFleur has the boys buzzing here early in the season, so got to give him credit. Got to give Jordan Love credit. They've looked real solid here first 2 weeks, and you wonder if that Micah Parsons deal, him coming in, has given a kind of a jolt to the rest of the team. Like, okay, like we're all in here. Like, we're trying to win a Super Bowl, and we're the Green Bay Packers. So 2-0 start to the season. You beat the Lions, you beat the Commanders. Like, no slouches to start the season for the Packers, and they've took care of business. I was on the commies last night, so yeah, rough one for me. And then I see someone in the chat already talking about it, but we got to discuss some field goals here, gentlemen. I don't know what happened last night. Ton of long field goals that missed and doinked, and we're just struggling to get that over 3.5 field goals across the line here in prime time. 2 and 3 to start the season when you include the Friday night football game from last week.
I'd love to show shots of the group chat from last night of Patty getting angrier and angrier as the kickers missed kick after kick. 2 doinks, though, Pat, was a little bit much. And to get 3, but have 3 others missed, that's a, you know what? Hopefully we're just taking a few shots early on and then the field goals will really start coming as these kickers. The kicking has been a disaster so far this season.
There's a kicking problem in this league, fellas. It's an epidemic. The fact that I would much rather lose the field goals when there's only 1 or 2 and hey, it's a bad read. That game, the screw was out there. It was working. Just gay two doinks. Another one, a missed field goal from the Packers. It's so disappointing when opportunities and kickers. Opportunity. You have one job, kick field goals. That's.
I don't know what's up. We get a good run with Pat for a bit, and then we don't, Jake. But listen, we'll get into the picks right away. I'm sure hopefully Patty will be we'll get a green light on his internet connection. I don't know what's up. You know, there's so many people out in Ontario. How they can't figure out a way to get you guys decent internet.
Huss, he sounded really good yesterday on your show. Like, I watched on Twitter, like he sounded fine. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's like a VPN issue, because a lot of times for us to see the odds, we got to connect to our Coolbet VPN. So I don't know if that's causing him issues right now. But listen, I I was there for the future show, struggling to connect and struggling to be heard. So I feel for Patty right now. Hopefully he can sort it out here as we keep rolling.
One way or the other, we'll get Patty's picks and we'll get through it. Let's start off with our spread picks for the week. And as I mentioned, I lucked out. I mean, the Bills +1. You'll take it. I mean, listen, losing Pittsburgh -2.5 was tough to take on that single point.
I think we all had that one, right?
Yeah, and that was a real tough one. Obviously, the Indy one was a laugher, and the Bills was quite good. You, of course, were 1-2-1. Pushed on Denver. We lost on Pittsburgh. Great pick on Cleveland. They should have won that game outright. And Seattle could have easily won that game too. I mean, to be honest, Jake, you probably deserved a better fate. And then Patty was in on Carolina, which was pretty ugly. And then he did have that, speaking of comebacks, Minnesota. Let's start off with our picks against the spread. Jake, why don't you give me your first 2 picks?
Sure. Yeah, let's roll into it. I'll be honest, I'm a little nervous this week. Looking at the numbers and nothing really jumped out at me, so I had to do some digging, and this is where we're going to start. I'm taking the boys, Dallas Cowboys at -5 against the Giants this week. And, you know, part of this is I thought Dallas looked really good in their week 1 game on Thursday night against the Eagles. Obviously, they played the Eagles tight. That's a divisional game. They're in another divisional game this week against the Giants. But Dak Prescott has absolutely owned the Giants since joining the Cowboys. 13-2 straight up, 10-5 against the spread versus the Giants, and he's won 13 consecutive starts against them. This also isn't just a, ride the Cowboys bet. It's a bit of a fade the Giants bet. I know the Giants defensive front is really, really solid, but the Commanders held them to 6 points last week. Russell Wilson does not look like the Russell Wilson of old, and he really hasn't over the last few years here. So, part of this is a little bit of backing what looked like a pretty good Cowboys team on extended rest from that Thursday nighter last week, and also fading Russie and the Giants until they switch off of him. Like, I'm not going to be able to bet on the Giants until I see someone else come in at quarterback, either Jackson Dart or Jameis Winston. So yeah, for me, it's the Cowboys this week -5. Dak also versus bad teams, 32-16-2 against the spread. So Cowboys have been known to beat up on some bad teams. Giants are 0-1. And I think they're an auto fade until Russie is no longer starting at quarterback. Second pick for the week, another favorite. I don't know if I like that I have 3 favorites on my card, but I'm taking another favorite, and I'm taking the Detroit Lions at -6 this week. I think it's a great bounce back spot for them against the Bears team who just, who looked really good in their opening drive of the game. And if it weren't for that pick 6, probably would have been blown out by the Vikings on Monday Night Football. They really didn't have anything going after that first drive. Jared Goff, Dan Campbell off a loss, 19-8 against the spread, and have covered 10 in a row dating back to November of 2022 off a loss. So this team has always been known to bounce back. I know the coordinators are different, and that's a lot of what the concern is with the Lions here early in the season. But I just think the talent of the Lions can't be understated. And look, they lost to Green Bay, who clearly is a really strong team after what we saw last night from them. So, I'm going to take the Lions at -6. Since the beginning of 2023, Lions 7-0 straight up and against the spread after a loss. The only undefeated team in the NFL since that time. Also, Jared Goff indoors. We know he's an indoor cat. I'm backing the Lions this week, -6.
All right, so Jake laying 5 with the Cowboys and 6 with the Detroit Lions. I don't mind that Detroit. That was certainly one of the picks that I had under heavy consideration. I'll throw my first 2 out. And you know what? I'm going to go back to a team that I was on last week that, as we just mentioned, I narrowly missed, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are at home. They're taking on the Seattle Seahawks. Sammy Darts, who was fine at times in their opener, but they lost a game that I really sort of pin on Mike McDonald as much as anyone. They had the opportunity to go for the throat in the fourth quarter. They didn't do it. And the next thing you know, the Niners were going the distance of the field and putting up the touchdown that ended up winning the game. Listen, Aaron Rodgers had a phenomenal start to his time in Pittsburgh. He had 4 touchdowns, an absolutely crazy game that saw them down, scored 2 touchdowns in a matter of about 40 seconds. And then, of course, it was Chris Boswell. We gave the kickers a hard time You can give the kickers a hard time at a lot of spots, not in Pittsburgh. They're signing him up to give him whatever he needs to stick around because he dropped a 60-yarder to win the game. But to me, this is going to be a fun game to watch. I think this is a really tough spot for Seattle. Flying across the country and then playing a noon game, which is 10 a.m. Traditionally, I haven't loved West Coast teams in that early time slot. But here's the thing. I think that Mike Tomlin ripped his defense a new one last week. Now, Seattle's a very different team. They're going to have to worry about Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet in the background. But this will be a far more traditional offense. They were, I think, a little caught off guard by just how effective that the New York Jets running game was. We'll get to the Jets later on, I'm sure. A lot of design runs for Justin Fields. I mean, it was great for fantasy owners and people that had Fields props. But it was also really, really effective. Sammy Darts isn't going to be doing that. I think the Steelers defense is going to be ready to make a big statement that was a very, very big off day for them to start off the season. They got away with one. And TJ Watt and the guys leading the way. And as I say, I mean, the offense looked really, really good. Aaron Rodgers is in FU mode. So we will lay the 3 points with the Pittsburgh Steelers at home against the Seattle Seahawks. Next up, which of these games do I want to throw for my third game? I'll tell you what, I'm going to go to Sunday Night Football for the next one, and I'm going to lay the 3.5 with the Minnesota Vikings. I'm so fascinated to see what we get from Minnesota in this game against Atlanta. In that, J.J. McCarthy, the offense struggled. Now, he did not get any help, for the record. I mean, Justin Jefferson had 2 that he absolutely should have had. Adam Thielen dropped 1. So they didn't exactly help out their rookie quarterback in the first 3 quarters. But once he started feeling it, they rolled. And I don't think it's going to take till the fourth quarter till we see J.J. McCarthy do some great things. And on the other side, Brian Flores in that Minnesota defense is legit. And Atlanta, I think, is going to really have their hands full going into Minnesota for the Vikes debut with J.J. McCarthy at home in prime time. So Minnesota minus 3.5 will be my my other pick to start things off. Now, if Pat comes back in, we can get him to run down. But I think what we'll do, Jake, is just go through the rest of our picks. And Patty can text us in. We can put together some parlays if he's not able to join us again. But Pitt minus 3, Minnesota minus 3.5 are my other picks. Where are you going with your other 2 spread choices?
Well, I figure I'll jump to this one first since you were just talking about it. Maybe our first head-to-head of the season. Falcons plus 3.5 on the road. This is what I was asking about. It's minus 120 at 3.5. I figure that's probably fine to take the hook there. I just think it's a letdown spot for the Vikings. You go in, you didn't look great in the first half against the Bears. McCarthy really started to find it. Like, I thought he looked real solid in that second half, and obviously it showed with the way the score flipped. And, they went from being down double digits to up double digits in what felt like a span of 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And yeah, it was a really impressive showing, but I just think they're in one of these spots where it's a bit of a letdown. The Falcons are coming off a tough loss of their own, 3 points in a divisional game. I think they're going to be out for blood. I think, Vikings might be sitting a little pretty. They might be feeling pretty good. And, I don't know if the Falcons are necessarily going to win this game, but I figure that field goal was enough for me. Especially with the hook there at 3.5. So I'm going to take the Falcons. I'll go head-to-head with you, which I don't like doing because, I don't like going head-to-head with any of the guys from the crew here. But it is what it is. That's what's on the card. And then my last pick against the spread here before hopefully we get Patty back. I'm going to take the Broncos. Defense travels. I think we were both high on the Colts last week against the Miami team that I think we all can agree probably not going to have that great of a season. But that Broncos defense was giving Cam Ward fits last week. I thought he made some great throws. I think the Broncos offense still needs some work with Bo Nix at the helm. But, if we see a slight improvement from Nix, I think that Broncos D takes care of their side of the ball. And and gives Daniel Jones some fits this week. So I got the Broncos -1.5. I mean, I don't know what the money line is right now, but you could probably go as far as just taking them as a pick 'em. Let me just see what the number is on the money line. -120. So another one that's -120, not too bad either. And here's a little stat for the Colts, and not good for the Colts. Teams that win in week 1 by 21 plus points and are listed as an underdog in week 2 are 6-12-2 against the spread dating back to 2003. And then 5 teams closed as a home underdog in week 2 in the same situation after winning by 21 plus. Those teams are 1-4 straight up and the spread. The Vikings last year won in that spot. That was the only team to do it in that same span. So, yeah, I'm going to take Knicks, that defense, and the Broncos again after a team in the future show that I bet to miss the playoffs. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm just like hedging myself with the Broncos to start the season here, but that's where I'm at.
I want to take the Colts so bad in this game, but I don't. I mean, I was a believer. Hey, Pat, Danny Dimes is your leader in MVP. In the MVP race right now, Daniel Jones is number 1. Listen, we got all of Jake's picks in a bit. Why don't you give me your first 2? Presuming we got you look and sound much, much better, and then I'll do 2, and then you can do the final 2. Now that Jake, by the way, if you missed it, Jake, Dallas -5, Detroit -6, Atlanta +3.5, Denver -1.5. I'm on the opposite side of the Atlanta-Minnesota game with him. I got the Vikings -3.5 and Pittsburgh -3 to start off. What are your the first 2 picks?
Okay, well, I'll give out the 2 picks that I agree with you guys here. In Steelers -3 against the Seahawks. You and I both were on the Steelers last week. I could hear you laying out that for the Steelers. You know, Seahawks, they looked fine, but I don't know. I just think this Steelers team, the way that Rodgers looked, this is a better team, and I think that they have the capabilities to win by more than 3. The other one is the Cowboys against the Giants. Jake, you said it perfectly. There is so much discourse when it goes to Dak Prescott and the Cowboys and not being able to get it done. But one thing that they do is beat up on the Giants and beat up on bad teams. And the Giants are a very, very bad team. I think this could be a game. They actually look pretty good against a very good Eagles team as well. A couple of catches from CeeDee Lamb down the stretch. And we're talking probably about the Cowboys being 1-0 and knocking off the defending Super Bowl champs. I think this is where the Cowboys are going to be 1-1 after week 2 with an impressive loss, a dominating win over the Giants. And then in a couple of weeks, then we're like, oh, right. Yeah, this is the Cowboys. This team's going absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
All right. So we got Pat is in with Pitt and the Cowboys.
Now, Huss, sorry to break it up here, but the Vikings at -3 is -116. If you want to take the hook yourself, I don't think you have to go 3.5.
I would love that.
Yeah.
So that is even better. Thank you for the
very admirable of you, Jake.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I figure if I'm taking the hook to get to -120, -116 is more than fair. More than fair.
Okay, perfect. That's very benevolent of you. All right, so we've got Pat's 2. One other thing, and I know they're going back with Russ. Like they could just be throwing it out. Dallas steamrolls them in this game, and Jackson Dart starts in potentially it could be week 3. I mean, they were all over Dable to go with Dart this week, and he said no. They get waxed by the Cowboys. It could be Jackson Dart time. And I think the sooner the better for the Giants right now, based on what we saw. Russie does not have a lot left in the tank, or at least didn't look like it. But, he'll have a big opportunity to go up against their rivals and make this one happen. All right, for my other 2 picks, let me go to geez, I've got a couple that I'm trying to decide to. Well, I'm going to take Tampa +2.5. I thought the Texans looked hideous against the Rams in their game. They put up a grand total of 3 field goals. CJ Stroud, and I don't know whether this is, the loss of Tank Dell and some of the other weapons that just aren't there. they did a very good job of keeping Nico Collins quiet, which is not an easy thing to do. And I know that the Rams defense is young and excellent, but to be honest, I think Tampa is in that similar category right now. And I think Tampa's a pretty well-rounded team, and what they do travels. Baker Mayfield doesn't care where he is. And the other thing about this, and if you've heard these stories about Mbuka going into the huddle before the winning touchdown and telling Baker Mayfield, "Hey, I'm running this route. Hit me on it." And that's exactly what happened for his second touchdown in his first NFL game. Tampa looks really, really good right now. This is a little bit of a fade of the Texans, but getting 2.5 points. Would love to get I think the 3 is a little out. Like if you wanted to go to 3. Yeah, it goes from minus 105 at plus 2.5 all the way to minus 130. So you're not getting it at a reasonable number at the 3, but I don't mind. We're going to take it at 2.5 and look for the Bucs to either win this game or keep it very close. Now, I have a couple of other games, but Patrick Mahomes as an underdog at home, how am I not taking that? I mean, this is the second time ever that Mahomes has been an underdog at home during his starting career. And even Mahomes just as an underdog, period, is about an 85% win percentage, I believe I was looking at. Like, this game makes me very nervous, and I think I'm putting it on the card because I'm going to be there. It is a Super Bowl rematch. It has to be there on it. I get why the Philly's a slight favorite in this game. And to be honest, I think if you really looked at, the way Philly looked in the first week, what Kansas City is in dealing without Rashee Rice, likely Xavier Worthy, I actually think this line probably should maybe be closer to 3 than it is with 1. But again, the Chiefs are never underdogs at home. Arrowhead's going to be rocking. The defense, I think, has a lot to step up from where they got shredded for a good portion of the game last week against Justin Herbert. But that was all through the air. I don't think Jalen Hurts will be doing that, but they're going to have to be able to handle that running game. Bottom line is 0-2 would be tough for the Chiefs. I think that Mahomes puts his team on his back and they find a way to win. Give me KC +1 for the final spread pick. I had a couple other good ones, Jake. I was thinking about your Patriots, to be honest, at 2. We will be fading Miami quite a bit this week, but it wouldn't be right if I didn't back my guy and my team for a game that I'm at. Give me the Chiefs as a dog +1 at home against the Philadelphia Eagles. Patty, your final 2 picks.
It's 2 picks that you guys are, I think Jake's on 1. Actually, I think, yeah, you're on 1 and Jake's on 1. Bucs against the Texans. I don't think this line makes a whole a sense at all, to be honest. I think maybe Texans -2.5 just because they're at home. If this is a neutral game, I think the Bucs should be favored by almost a full touchdown, like 6.5, 5.5, somewhere around there. Everyone knows me. Last year, I had the bet for them to win the division, double down on them when the Falcons had that heavy lead. I believe in Baker. Baker, chip on your shoulder. Baker Mayfield is a guy that you don't want to bet on. At the start of his career, first overall draft pick, former Heisman winner. When he was saying, everyone has doubted me, you're like, well, dude, no one is doubting you. But now that people are starting to doubt him, he can play that small, scrappy underdog card. And you talk about bringing in Mbuka, like I think he is going to be wide receiver number 1 in a matter of time in Tampa Bay. And the Texans looked awful. I've been saying this for the last I'd say year and a half now. Texans are frauds. The Texans are frauds. I think we're going to learn that they're frauds here. The wrong team is favored. And in my heart of hearts, I wanted to take the Colts. But then as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, this is an absolute overreaction beyond proportions here. 1.5 Like the Broncos have one of the best defenses in the NFL. They're going to be able to contain Danny Dimes' legs. They're going to be able to contain that pass. Like, I think we are going to learn very quickly that how bad that defense is in Miami with what the Broncos are going to be able to do to the Colts here. So I will take the Broncos, but I almost ate the cheese. I almost drank the Kool-Aid, but I kind of figured this out. And if they do win, hand up, I shouldn't have changed my pick, but that's what happens. Couple other quick games, not official plays for the contest here, but lock of the century, lock of the millennial, possibly. 49ers against the Saints. Mac Jones against Spencer Rattler. 40.5 is the total. This thing is going under. This thing might go under, but they're 40.5. There might be 20 points scored in this game. I'm taking the under, and I'm going to take some alt spreads in this one as well to get this even under. So that one, but certainly not, at least not a bet, just on the theme of games of the week. The Panthers against the Cardinals, the 0 seconds, 0 minutes of watching the football game of the week is the Panthers and the Cardinals. Those two teams could be playing in my backyard and I would draw the blinds. Zero interest in that football game. I'm sorry.
That's why they made fantasy football. This is a fantasy game. And you know what I do? I miss Aqib Talib doing the Arizona games, because the one thing, even though the games often were terrible, you had the most hilarious booth combo and Aqib calling Kyler Murray calamari throughout the entire matchup, which is one of my favorite things. I think Aqib and his brother had an incident at like a Pop Warner football game. I believe there were shots involved, and he won't be in the booth anytime soon. But when I think about these terrible Cardinals games in the late slate, I just think that we are all missing Aqib Talib on our televisions. All right. One game that we didn't touch on at all. Jacksonville, Cincinnati. I've got a prop from that game. But Jake, did you give any consideration to that one? I mean, Cincy did not look good, but again, on the road against Cleveland, like if Cincinnati is going to be this offensive juggernaut that we've all expected, we talked about all offseason, can we give them a pass on the road in the dog pound? Like, was this a game that you thought maybe we would jump on right now, or is it just kind of wait and see for this Bengals team based on how lucky they were to beat Cleveland in week 1?
Yeah, listen, it was never an option for me. I could not find a good read on it. Gun to my head, probably back Burrow and the boys, but they didn't look great in week 1. I know it was against Cleveland. I know they've had their struggles against Cleveland. So, that does come into factor. But at the same time, like, I don't really have a lot of faith in Trevor Lawrence. I don't know if, last week was you played the Panthers and that's why you had a big win, 26-10, or if, something is really going to turn around with Liam Cohen in this offense. So I think I got to see both teams play another game before I can make a true decision on either one of them. That's kind of where I was at with this game. That's why I stayed away.
All right.
Guys, I want to talk on this game here because I saw a stat earlier, like the Bengals are 10-1 in the first 2 weeks in the Zach Taylor era. Like, that is insane to me. I think that this guy
10-1 or 1-10?
10-1. Yeah.
1-10, sorry.
1-10.
They've won one game. They've won one game in week 1 and week 2 since Taylor's taken over. We are not talking enough about how this guy has not got his team prepared to start the year. If it wasn't for Joe Burrow and an absolutely stacked roster, this guy would have been nerfed a long time ago. He would have been turfed a long time ago. Nobody is talking about this. Everyone just gives them the benefit of the doubt. They'll figure it out and they'll win. I'm not betting them this week. Oh, well, they'll figure it out. They didn't figure it out last year. It was too late. Do people not realize that, yes, you cannot miss the playoffs in September, but a loss in September can make you miss the playoffs in December? This guy, he was born on third base, to take a quote from Ryan Day. He was born on third base. They have to figure this out. They absolutely have to figure this out. They need to win this week. They need to win in convincing fashion. With that being said, though, you could not pay me. You could not pay me to bet on this Bengals team with Zach Taylor as their head coach early on in the season. I can't do it.
You know what I just realized? And I mean, we won't change the picks, but that Tampa game is actually a Monday nighter. We got a Monday night football doubleheader this week.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And it's a separate, like it's a 6 o'clock game or a 7 o'clock game for you guys with Tampa and Houston. And then we've got the Chargers and Raiders going at it. That Charger Raider game right now is 3.5 or 3, depending.
Yeah, that's a late night for us, Huss. Monday night. 10 p.m. Eastern, I think.
It'll be worth it. It'll be worth it, though. I've got.
I might be late Tuesday morning.
Me too.
We've got these locked in, our picks. We'll figure out what we're going to do for a partner parlay coming up in a minute. Guys, let's dive into some player props. Jake, hit us with your favorite 2 props for the weekend in the National Football League.
Yeah, I'm sticking with games I already got spread bets on. And you know me, I love a good bounce back. This first one isn't necessarily a bounce back, but there's a lot of talk about, a few balls that this guy dropped. I don't think he's making any drops this week. CeeDee Lamb over 6.5 receptions at -120. I mean, Lamb's been Dak's go-to guy since, they've both been there. He's averaging 9+ targets a game with Dak at the helm. Last week, he had 13 targets against the Eagles, 7 receptions. So he would have cleared it last week, but that included 4 drops. And I mean, we talked about it. Few of those balls are right in CD's hands. So I think it's back to the basics for CD. I think Dak force feeds him the ball, gets him going against a not as good Giants team, especially, the Giants front's good. I don't know about the secondary just yet. So I think it's a heavy CeeDee Lamb game for Dak, over 6.5 receptions there at -120. And then another bounce back spot. This is a guy, Huss, that we were big on to start the season, and he just didn't really get it going on the ground last week against the Green Bay Packers. Give me Jahmyr Gibbs, over 68.5 rush yards. He had 19 yards in week 1, I think on 9 attempts. So I think this is a great bounce back spot against the Bears D, who, if you saw Jordan Mason came out, he gave them a different look from Aaron Jones last week and looked really, really solid. I think he had 68 yards on 15 attempts last week for 4.5 yards per carry. I think if Gibbs gets, proper amount of carries in a game where hopefully the Lions are leading, I think we're going to see a big, big game from Gibbs. And last year, he was 12 for 17 clearing this number, and he also cleared it both against the Bears. 23 rushes for 109 in the first game, 9 rushes for 87 the second time they met up. So I think Jahmyr Gibbs goes 70+ this week, and CD goes over 6.5 receptions.
All right. I'm going to get to, here I've got a couple, and I'm actually focusing in on running back receiving yards today. By the way, last night, the Jordan Love rushing prop, any Jordan Love rushing prop, even if you took it at a bigger number, cashed on literally the first series. And man, we had the under. We were so close. The Austin Eckler thing was tough. And not only, I was texting with the guys, there's nothing worse than the guy that you need for a couple yards in the fourth quarter to be on the cart, giving the thumbs up to the fans. I felt bad, though. And I mean, Austin Eckler, I think, is probably in and around 30 years old. That looked like an Achilles injury. You do wonder at that position whether that might be it for Austin Eckler. Certainly hope that he can come back. He's had a really nice career, still a valuable player. And if you have Bill, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt moving forward, I think that stock, certainly fantasy-wise and prop-wise, is going to go up significantly with Eckler out of the picture. But I'm going to start off with Travis Etienne. And Etienne was a monster last week rushing. Now, he had 16 carries, 143 yards, the majority of that on a 71-yarder. But Etienne is traditionally a guy that sees a lot of balls out of the backfield. And with that incredible start, I think he probably stays on the field more. I was worried about, the committee that they've got there. Well, they traded Tank Bigsby to Philly this week, which I think opens up even more opportunity for Etienne to be in there regularly. And even last week, he did catch 3 balls for 13 yards. I think probably they end up going to a little bit more through the passing game than just handing it off to Etienne. His total for receiving yards is 15.5, and he had 13 last week on 3 carries. I wouldn't be surprised if that rushing number comes down a little bit. I think the receiving number will be significant. Love Etienne over 15.5 receiving yards. And then the other guy that is turning into, or is pretty much a bell cow for his team, that I'm going to be getting. And again, this might give us a reason to at least watch this game for 2 minutes, but it's from that Arizona-Carolina game, and it's James Conner. And if you look back at the week 1 performance of the Cardinals and James Conner, funny enough, it was Trey Benson that actually had, that 52-yarder. So it put him ahead of Conner on the rushing game. But Conner did have 12 carries as opposed to Benson's 8. But they also threw the ball to Conner for 4 times. So he had 4 catches on 4 targets. It was only 5 yards. I think that's just an aberration. If he continues to get 4 to 5 opportunities catching the football, I think he cruises over the 14.5 receiving yards. And again, that's one you could pretty much get like we had with Jordan Love last night in one play. So James Conner over 14.5 in the air, and Travis Etienne over 15.5. Those are my 2 favorite props for today. Patty, where are you going with the players?
Well, I think one of them you're going to really like. I wanted a piece of that Eagles-Chiefs game, and I agree with you. You get Mahomes, you get the Chiefs as an underdog at home. You're going to be in the building. It took me everything in my power not to add them, but I'll just bet at money line closer to kickoff. But one thing that even if they're to battle strong and they come up short and they don't win, Patrick Mahomes is having a good football game. Patrick Mahomes is going to let it fly. He is going to play with a chip on his shoulder. He was pretty salty in that Chargers game, dropping his shoulder, on the sideline. He did not look like he was having fun out there and had a big smile on his face. I think we're going to see a salty, sour Patrick Mahomes again. He's going to want to throw it around the yard, and he's going to want to pat some stats. Over 1.5 passing touchdowns for Mahomes. I absolutely love this. I probably will take an alternate number on this as well. Probably will do some sort of Patty Mahomes same game parlay as well, because I think he's going to have a massive game. And then there's 2 other bets that I really, really struggled with. And probably for the contest, I won't do it, but I'll lay it out just because of the number is a little bit tricky. Zay Flowers, 4.5 receptions, minus 141. So maybe I'll put that on a parlay for me. Then up to 5.5 is plus 148. He was unbelievable against the Bills, chewed him up. And I think, his history against the Browns as well. I think in week 8 last year, he had about 8 targets and really chewed up the Browns. So going to keep my eye on that. But for my official play, everyone knows I don't bet on the Bills. Everyone knows that I don't bet against the Bills. Everyone knows, though, when it comes to props, either way, it's fair game. And this week, I'm actually going to go against the Bills on this prop play. But if you watch that game, you saw it doesn't matter about the comeback. It doesn't matter how electric Josh Allen was. It doesn't matter about, them defying odds, less than 1% chance to win. They still gave up about 1.5 bajillion yards on the ground. And the Jets, yes, are they the Ravens? Do they have that same rush attack? Absolutely not, but they still have a mobile quarterback and a couple of very capable running backs. Breece Hall, 58.5 rushing yards. I'm going over. I think the Bills will win this game. I think it's going to be close. I don't know if they cover the 6, but if it is going to be a close game, it's going to be because they struggle to stop the run in the first half. I think Breece Hall could have about 60 or 70 yards in the first half, and then they figure it out like they did, in that fourth quarter, slowing things down. That rush defense is an absolute problem, and not the good way that the kids say. The Bills have a lot of work to do when it comes to fixing that. I think they will. I trust Sean McDermott from a defensive side of the play. Let me get that clear. I trust Sean McDermott as a defensive play caller. Other areas, maybe not so much. But it's going to take more than just a full week of film to figure out how they can stop this very impressive Jets rushing attack.
What was the number again? 58.5?
58.5 is what I saw it earlier, but it may have moved. Let me
that Brees? I can take a
double
look.
check. Yeah.
Let me just pull it.
Yeah, take a look, Jake. I think it was 58.5 earlier this when I did my prep yesterday.
It's funny, just on that Bills-Jets game, everyone is on the Jets. Everyone's on the Jets. It's moved the line down to 6.5. It was actually 6 at one point. It's gone back to 6.5, which is interesting because, I mean, you would think that the Bills, after what they did, yeah, I mean, it's minus 116 for 60.5.
Yeah, I'm seeing 60.5. That's what I was going to say.
I'll still take the 60. That's fine. That's no problem for me. I'll take the 60.
Okay, so 60.5 over rush yards for it. All right, Jake, TDs. Excuse me, I'm sneezing. Touchdown score.
Bless you. Bless you. There it is. All right. Listen, like I know I should go a little bit safer this week after I went Trey McBride, and then I got bought into this storyline. Listen, Aaron Rodgers got his revenge last week. 4 touchdown passes against the New York Jets. But this week, he helped someone else get revenge. DK Metcalf, anytime touchdown against his former team where he was traded away from, the Seattle Seahawks, plus 164. I'm going DK this week, boys.
I love the angle. I love the revenge angle on that. Great line. I'm fully in on that one. Pat, what about you? Who's getting into the end zone for our pay dirt parlay?
I think Patty might be frozen. Oh, there he is.
I think Pat is there. Or no, he looks like he has frozen. All right.
There he goes.
All right.
Had him good for a while there.
We did. You know, I'm looking at this Minnesota game. And again, I like Minnesota in this football game. JJ McCarthy is, and by the way, I just love the way Coolbet has Jonathan James McCarthy. Like they actually spell his entire name. It is a great thing. His anytime touchdown is plus 422. Now, I'm not going to put that on the for the parlay, but I think we're going to see JJ McCarthy get his fair share of rushing touchdowns. We saw him do it last week, and he is definitely a very mobile and a very tough QB. But man, I thought that as things went on, that connection he had with Justin Jefferson was looking good. JJ plus money to get into the end zone at plus 111. I think this Minnesota offense is going to cook against Atlanta. Went through that over for the pick in the -3. And if you're thinking about Minnesota making things happen, you think about arguably the best receiver on the planet in Justin Jefferson. Of course, he's going to get it on prime time, show off all that bling. Plus 111 for Justin Jefferson. And, the other thing that I'll say, Jake, this is part of the reason why we were talking about Aqib Talib last night while we were watching the game. Aqib Talib, of course, famously snatched Michael Crabtree's chain on the field. How much do you think Justin Jefferson has around his neck in a game? Because that looked like it could be like a couple $1 million. And I'm telling you right now, if I'm a DB and I'm tackling Justin Jefferson, I'm going in for the collar and trying to get a piece of one of those chains. I've never seen anyone with that much ice around their neck in a National Football League contest.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Haas, I wouldn't even know where to start when evaluating these chains, because I'm pretty sure they're all real diamond. And yeah, listen, I couldn't even guess. Millions, sure. If you told me he had millions of dollars around his neck, I wouldn't argue with you. So, yeah, tough to say on my end. I'm really not sure. But yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. Like, I think about just like, how much is that weighing you down? like when you're running around out there, like you want to be shifty, your receiver, you got routes to run, and like, I got to respect it. One of the best in the game. If that's what he needs to hit that level, then, all the power to him.
You know what? I'm actually changing my pick. I'm changing my pick. Same game, but in actuality, exact same number. Plus 111 for Justin Jefferson. I'm actually going to change it to Jordan Mason. And I've got some other Jordan Mason action this week. Obviously, in fantasy, he's big. It is just dawning upon me just how devastating he was. I think he's going to be getting the majority of anything in and around the goal line. And it wouldn't surprise me to see his level of carries, especially in the scoring area, continue to go up. So, first game as a Vike in his new home. I'm actually going to roll to Jordan Mason for the Vikings. All right, I think we've got Pat here. Pat, while we've got you, fire away on a TD score quickly, and we'll make sure we get you in, and then we can put together these parlays. Okay, Pat has returned, and he's just about to come back in. People in the chat, am I nuts for going Mason over Justin Jefferson? Wouldn't be. Maybe I'll do a little thing with a both score. Maybe that's the same gamer. Vikings -3 and a Mason and a Jefferson touchdown. We'll put that up for going on. All right, we're just going to bring Pat in as soon as he is we can reconnect him in there. I do think he's back. We get a touchdown score. And we're going to put together our partner parlay with a pick from each of the three of us. And we'll have to Jake, while we see what's up with Patty and his touchdown score, I love your CD Lamb. I love your CD Lamb pick. I think between my two props, I think I'm going to lean on the Etienne. I mean, I like both of them, but I really do think that we're going to see a big Etienne game. And again, if I'm taking a guy, let's do it against the Cincinnati defense. And then I'm not sure would we want to go with Mahomes or the Breece Hall. Maybe Breece Hall. Well, as I said, okay, Pat's back. I don't know with Connor if we can bring him in if we're ready to go. I think each time we've got in, we've got to kind of pop him back into the screen. So we'll do that because we need a touchdown score from Patty. But what do you think if we go the CD over 6.5 receptions, Etienne over 15.5 receiving yards, and Breece Hall to get 60 rushing yards?
Yeah, I like that. I like that Hall for 60 plus or 60. Yeah, 60 plus probably good.
Excellent. So yeah, we'll get to Etienne to get 16 plus, Breece Hall 60 plus, CD 7 or more receivers or receptions, I should say. So that will be our parlay. Let's see if we can Connor, can we get Pat back in? There he is. All right. Many different challenges today. He's one foot in the car going to Notre Dame. Patty, what's the touchdown score you want to roll in? I changed from Justin Jefferson to Jordan Mason, but I'm staying in that Vikings game, and he's got the revenge narrative of Aaron Rodgers setting up DK Metcalf.
Listen, first and foremost, Jake is literally in a tin Winnebago up north, and somehow he's got better reception than me. This is insane. Before I head to South Bend, I'm going to be making a pretty long and lengthy phone call to a telecommunication provider. I'm literally on my phone right now, so if the audio doesn't sound great, I do apologize. We'll get it figured out before next week. Listen, the fact that we got a change up here, my mind is you know how my mind works with superstitions and good vibes. In my heart of hearts, I can't not have Justin Jefferson on this card just in case something happens here. So I'm going to go JJ. Give me JJ. I like JJ. My other option was going to be James Cook, and we know I let Jimmy cook all season long. It's going to be a long year. I'm going to be able to find Cook on my card at some point. So let's go JJ.
You don't mind we're putting 2 touchdown scores from the same team in the same game?
Listen, I don't mind. I don't mind if you guys don't mind.
I'm okay with it. I just know when it comes to bad juju, Justin Jefferson is going to score that first touchdown. That's just how it's going to work.
Yeah, and no pressure on me. I take the 1 o'clock game, and you guys take the Sunday nighter as the cop out in case mine doesn't. I get it. It's fine.
Here's the thing. If not, I've got other options too. If we don't go Cook, I also have another one that I could play as well. Haas, you're probably not going to like it, but Jalen Hurts, touch push.
Jalen Hurts, I mean, listen, Jalen Hurts gets one every week. He's like, what's the Hurts number on a touchdown? I'm interested to know because it's got to be.
Let's see what it is here.
TD score, Jalen Hurts. Yeah, it is minus. It's minus 109, which is what it should be. I mean, he's basically, much like 50, on a spread bet, minus 109 on either side, which is a good number. He is more often than not gonna score. He'll get 2 1 week. He'll get 0 the next one. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Now, do you want to go with Hurts or you want to stay with Jefferson for this?
Jake, what do you think? Should we?
No, I'm fine with Jefferson. I think the logic's there. Like Haas makes the late switch. I am a little nervous that we need 2 touchdown scores from the same team, but
it's the Falcons. It's the Falcons defense.
It is the Falcons.
Yeah.
They're
going to score.
I'm fine with go. Yeah, you're right.
Listen, let's do it. I think that I like both of those. I was going to put something together, and maybe you can. We'll see what happens with DK.
Yeah, exactly.
But I will commit. I will be committing to both of these guys scoring in the Sunday nighter.
Yeah. Yeah. And guys, just a heads up, we were talking about obviously my pick with for the parlay. You guys went ahead with the 60 plus yards for Breece Hall. Just announced Ed Oliver not playing, dealing with the ankle injury. So I think that I wouldn't be surprised if we see that number creep up north of 60 at some point, just because, outside of Josh Allen in the fourth quarter, Eddie O was probably the best player on the field for the Buffalo Bills.
Yes. All right. Well, that is significant. That's another reason why, we'll see whether this number gets back down to 6 or lower, because everyone seems to be on the Jets. And I get it. They look really good this week, and I think they're going to be able to hang in a lot of games this year. All right. Partner parlay, boys. Where do we want to go with this? We've got a couple of Pittsburghs. We have a couple of Dallases. We've got 2 Tampas.
And we got two Denvers too, don't we?
And we've got
here's what Denvers. I wrote, and I know you like the Colts, so maybe we switch this off. Here's what I wrote down though.
Yeah.
Steelers minus 2.5, Broncos money line, Bucks plus 3.5. Bucks is a Monday nighter, so we would have to wait, or either we take the Bucks off and we go.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
I think that's great. Like we're buying a half point in a couple spots, but we'll get a boost. Like that's traditionally been a really good spot for us to come in, and getting that, getting the Pittsburgh to 2.5, I think is significant. And the Tampa to 3.5 is big time. Obviously Denver would probably still be in the 4 to 5 plus 4 to 5 to 1 range, even with those after Evdog takes care of us. So yeah, let's put that one up in the combo cards. And we will lock that in. So again, it's going to be Pittsburgh minus 2.5, Tampa plus 3.5, and Broncos money line, and we'll get that up in the combo cards for the weekend. Our house callers is going to be DK Metcalf and 2 Vikings, Jordan Mason and Justin Jefferson on Sunday night, and our prop parlay will be CeeDee Lamb over 6.5 receptions, Travis Etienne over 15.5 receiving yards, and Breece Hall over 60.5 rushing yards. And again, all those will be up in the spot for at the top. And of course, check the exclusives as well. There'll be a ton of great exclusives. I think we all survived the Survivor pick last week. You guys, there was a Denver, there was a Philly, and I had to sweat out Pittsburgh. Shout out my guy Chris Boswell. I'm going to try to not sweat this one out this week afterwards. And I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are a monster favorite, the biggest on the board. I think they're going to be in a very angry mood, and I think they take it out on the Cleveland Browns. It's such a big spread. I didn't touch it with the spread picks, but at this point, I want to survive. I don't want to be that guy that gets cute in week 2 like I almost did in week 1. Give me the Ravens. I will use them this week at home against Cleveland. Patty, what's the survivor pick?
That also is my survivor pick as well. But the other one that I was kind of circling in and around of was kind of crazy, but like no one talked about this, but the Rams -5.
Well, we lost him, but he was saying the Ravens is his pick as well. Pat, yeah, we lost you there. Be good. Jake, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess none of us are getting cute this week. I had the Ravens written down as well. I'm in this big one with my buddies, so it's a constant conversation throughout the week where everyone's leaning and where everyone wants to go. I got one buddy's on the Cowboys, but I have noticed that line has come down from 6 to 5. So I don't know. Like I'm betting the Cowboys this week on the spread, but yeah, there is part of me that's a bit nervous there with the divisional game. But yeah, the Ravens big favorites after losing the game the way they did against the Bills. I think the Browns are going to be in for a world of hurt for about 40 minutes on Sunday.
Well, and the thing is, it's just so Cleveland. I mean, they Browns themselves last week. They should have won that football game. They miss an extra point. They miss a field goal. They lose by 1. And their reward for coming close against Cincinnati is going into the Ravens for their home opener after blowing a game that they had a 99% win percentage chance in the fourth quarter. So that is not good for the Cleveland Browns. But again, that's why the line is 11. So listen, none of us are getting cute. Ravens across the board for the survivor pick this week after all going in a different direction in week 1. Pat is off to Notre Dame. Jake, what I know, do you want to plug any college football stuff before I know you guys will have that going on? I mean, it is NFL Sundays big time, but I'm just going down the list. I mean, literally a million college games, including the one that Pat's going to be at. Texas A&M at Notre Dame, both ranked teams. And when Pat was on WST yesterday, it was -6.5. It's now down to 6 with Notre Dame being the favorite at A&M. But anything, or you just want to plug anything? I know there's always tons of exclusives for college football as well.
Yeah, Patty and I'll probably do a Saturday sweat again. We missed last week. I think we were both pretty busy after the show, but we'll do some sort of 4-game teaser for Saturday for college football. I'm on the Houston Cougars tonight, if you want to jump on that with me for some Friday night football. And then, of course, we have the American Football Hub running right now as well in the promotion. So 3 different offers every single week. You can choose either NFL or college football, and you can get either a bet and get, bet 30, get 15, a boost. I think it's a 30% boost, and then bet builder insurance. So totally up to you, however you want to spend the weekend, betting on football. Choice is yours at Coolbet. So yeah, head over to the promotions. There's a few other things running right now as well. Ton of profit boost stuff. The Man Cup continues tonight at West. The New Westminster Salmon Bellies versus the Six Nations Chiefs. Game 6. Salmon Bellies have the lead right now. I know Patty's not here to promote that, but we do have a profit boost for that if you want to get a little lacrosse action. Baseball profit boost. We get the Blue Jays tonight against the Orioles. They're fighting for a bye into the postseason. Golf profit boost. You have to start your day in the promotion section before you do anything else, and make sure you're getting everything possible over at Coolbet.
We'll be hitting the Bomber Ticat game on Winnipeg Sports Talk today. That's now a 7.5 point spread with Chris Strebler being the starting quarterback. And of course, condolences to former assistant GM here in Winnipeg and a GM of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Ted Devaya, who passed earlier today on what was to be the Team Ted game. So there will be a lot of heavy hearts in the building coming up this evening. I'm staying away from that game. For those of you that want to use that 30% profit boost on the CFL to ride with me, BC minus 9.5. I think this is sort of like the Ravens situations, a terrible blown loss last week. They get Ottawa at home this week. I think this one's going to be ugly. BC wins by double digits. I think Edmonton-Toronto is going to be a really fun, exciting, tight game. Give me the Elks plus 3.5 in the game tomorrow. And we'll ride with the Riders. I think they're just significantly better than Montreal, even if MBT is coming in. So BC minus 9.5, Edmonton plus 3.5, Sask minus 8. You can put those together and use that 30% profit boost that you've got each week on the Canadian Football League. All right, that's going to do it for us, gang. Let us know your favorite picks in the comments if you're watching after the fact. And make sure to check out the combo cards and the exclusives for everything that we're cooking up. Once again, the partner parlay this week, we're going to buy a couple points. Pittsburgh minus 2.5, Tampa plus 3.5, and Denver money line. That will be up in the combo cards, along with our house callers, touchdown scorer prop, and the props. That is going to do it for us today on WST Winners. Shout out to all of you cool bettors who were joining us today. Good luck with your picks this weekend, and we will see you next week. And, of course, join us daily, 1 p.m. on Winnipeg Sports Talk for more on the Winnipeg sports scene, the national sports scene, and a daily look at what we're betting in the evening on the Coolbet lines. For Pat Gregoire, for Jake Bolin Moss, Connor Rabchak, I'm Andrew Paterson. Have a great football weekend and NFL Sunday. And we'll see you next Friday, 10 a.m. Winnipeg time, all season long, right here on the NFL edition of WST Winners.